Lucky. What you doing? Oh, hi, Marshall. I'm just playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for Nintendo Switch. It doesn't look like you're playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for Nintendo Switch. What are you talking about, Marshall? Can't you see that I'm clearly playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Nintendo Switch? Huh, how did that happen? Smashing!
Disclaimer, I'm not really much of a fan of Digimon.
Yeah, I have no shame. Fight me. In fact, Hello?
You never liked Digimon? How could you?
I never said that. I was just not a fan. I never grew up with the franchise.
Oh, boo-hoo, sure you are, and here I am excited to give you some insight of the game that you tried to review, and yet you never liked Digimon? I mean, how could you? As your researcher...
So, as I was saying,
I was never really into Digimon that much. I never know how the story goes. I never know what's the name of the cast, let alone the Digimons.
I mean, what can I say? I was more of a Pokemon guy myself, and I can prove that to you guys. This is Pikachu. Fuck.
I mean, I do know a little bit of Digimon. Like, I know the show existed when I was a kid, and the only thing I remember was the opening theme, which is really cool. Now I know what you're thinking. So Lucky, if you're not a fan of Digimon, how do you even stumble upon to this hidden gem in the first place? Well, the answer is simple. I was just minding my own business trying to find some games to play until I stumbled upon that game and just slapped it into my PS1. Or to make it simple, now enough talking about me, let's talk about the game, Digimon Rumble Arena. Now I know you guys might be thinking that this game is just a dumbed down version of Smash Brothers. Digimon Rumble Arena is a platform fighter that was released for the PlayStation 1 at December 2001 in Japan, while North America got their hands on February 2002. The game was also developed by Bandai, or nowadays is more well known as Bandai Namco, ever since they started merging in 2005. And also, what? I never know much about Hudson Soft in general, but the only game that I do remember developed by them was Bloody Roar, and we'll talk about that later.
Because today, we're gonna play some Digimon Rumble Arena, so let's go. Where is it? Ah! There you are! Oh, sorry, I have to put it out there, because the feeling of nostalgia really makes me happy. And besides, my therapist told me if I don't self-remind myself to be happy, I'll be depressed and gonna keep on questioning on my life decisions. Such as... Oh, we have openings!
I really don't know how to feel about this opening, but I do have some questions about it, like, why was the Tamer in 2D while the Digimons are fully fledged polygon nightmares? Overall, I think it's fine, it's not bad, but surely it's not good either. However, I really do miss having a fully animated openings before going to the title screen. It brings the hype before you even get into the game, and I appreciate that. It's really cool. Like, if you notice, most games right now are either putting in an existing half-ass gameplays on their openings, or didn't even bother putting it at all. So I do understand if they put a bit of effort into making these openings because it brings so much hype back at those days. Now, as much as I don't have much memories of this game, I still think it's worth watching purely because of nostalgia.
Yeah, that's about right.
Digimon Rumble Arena!
Huh. Didn't know Waluigi was actually part of this.
Digimon Rumble Arena!
The main menu, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, thank God, I thought I was lost.
Pretty straightforward, nothing really flashy, but it gets the job done. So now let's go and play some matches.
Which Digimon are you gonna play with, huh? Which one?
Alright, calm down, jeez.
Go ahead, pick your favorite Digimon.
I will if you shut up!
So to start off, we got ourselves 9 characters to choose from, where the others needed to be unlocked after we finished the arcades for each character. And I swear, I don't know who these characters are. All I know is Pikachu here and the ones I used long time ago.
that's just sad.
Also, what's up with you? Stop staring into my soul with those eyes, please. I don't remember you were this creepy.
Yeah, I don't think it's working anymore.
Whatever, let's just get this over with.
Well, there she goes. What is wrong with you?
Don't you just love when you cannot hear anything he says? I can't hear you. Please speak up. Is this an issue? The audio quality of this dialogue is very crappy. Is this supposed to be crappy? I have no idea.
Alright, that's just sad. I mean, a huge red lizard dino is going to beat up a helpless worm. Why am I sensing a pattern here? Aren't you supposed to be helpful?
Ready?
I'm not!
Rumble.
This game is slow.
Okay, it's not unplayably slow, but I swear I remember it being a bit faster than this. I mean, take a look at this! This is your running speed, how sad is that? Though, tapping the forward button twice makes you dash a bit, but that doesn't change the fact that the pace of the game is still slow as hell.
The worm has a deep voice.
So the game controls as it follows. You have your standard X button to jump, while pressing it twice makes you double jump. The square button is your basic attack button. Keep mashing that square to do those combos that are not combos for some reason. Pressing the L1 button to guard, while the triangle and circle button is your special, or the game itself calls it the finisher moves.
Huh, I wonder why it's called finisher move. Oh, that's why.
Each character has their own different special with their own unique properties, and for you who play Smash Brothers, it's basically your B button.
As a quick note, this game also has their directional attack inputs, or Smash players usually call it as tilt attacks, where you press the directional inputs and the attack buttons in the same time to perform the attack. Are you making a huge deal over a 20-year-old game that nobody might even play anymore? Yes, here I am making a huge deal over a 20-year-old game that nobody might even plays anymore.
However, the main gimmick of this game lies on this single button. During your transformation, you have a whole different move and specials for a short limited time. Or you can also spend your whole meter by pressing the same button for a devastating super move, leaving the players to strategize for a new way to fight the opponents.
That's it. That's the whole game. That's the whole game. I have nothing else to say. Goodbye.
I mean, there's also items and cards, but we'll get to that later. I'm so confused. These attacks feel so inconsistent. Sometimes it combos, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes the hit properties didn't make sense at all. Look, I'm trying my best explaining here.
Evolve, Wormon!
Oh shit, he's pissed. Now it's that green Power Ranger guy.
Aside from all that, the stages. Man, do I love the stages. It's probably one of the things that I remember the most due to the fact that Digimon Rumble Arena was the first ever platform fighters I've ever played and had the most interactable stages ever back then.
Have I told you that this game is my first platform fighter ever?
Boulders that you can get hit by, ice platform that you can destroy, garbage disposal, man, I could go on forever. Now to add more icing on the cake, we also have items and cards that scatter throughout the stages where the players can use it for their own advantage. You have your standard food items where you can heal yourself and gain your HP back, bombs that can be detonated immediately after you touch it and cause damage if you're an absolute masochist, and then there's the cards.
Speed round.
The yellow plus cards increases your Digivolve meter, while the yellow minus cards decreases it. Purple ring malfunctions your Digimon, while the multiple purple rings makes it worse. Wow, it's hard work pronouncing this. The white marble bus increases your attack, while the blue down arrow lowers it.
And a couple of more that I don't want to mention. However, I do want to point out this 3 specific cards.
The fire cards are cards that give you a fire projectile that'll attack your opponents by pressing the circle button. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, first, this card comes with 3 colors. There's red, blue, and green, which probably already gives you an idea on what it does. Red burns the opponent, the blue one freezes the opponent, the green one grows the tree. So, that's pretty much it, right? Right?
Wrong, you fools!
Have I mentioned that this game has type advantage? Yes, you heard me right.
This game has type advantages! Let the counter pick begins!
Alright, take this as an example. You're using Digimon, which is a fire type, fighting against this defenseless little shit, which just so happens to be a nature type. Do I really need to keep going? Now, let's go back to the fire cards. As I mentioned before, the fire cards have 3 different types, and no, it didn't give the opponent's debuff, just a projectile. But what I can say is the fire cards give a slight damage deal to the opponents if they're using a character that has elemental disadvantage. Are you sensing a pattern here?
Oh, we're not done yet, folks.
Remember the stages? The elements also takes effect in the stages. Man, From all the 7 stages, there are 3 that takes effect. The forest that has nature elements, the glacier that has water elements, and volcano.
Ooh, depression.
Honestly, it's not that much big of a deal, but Super Smash Bros. Brawl had the same type concept like Digimon Rumble as well, especially for Pokemon Trainer. However, in Smash 4, Pokemon Trainer is nowhere to be seen, leaving only Charizard in the roster, and I think that happened for a reason.
Alright, let's just get on with the arcade. I have rant this much and then we haven't beat the stupid Power Ranger worm. And we're still halfway on the script!
I know.
Damn it!
This pacing is so slow, I just want it to end quick.
Ugh, finally, all that for a single bug. What are you looking at?
The arcade mode that we're playing right now has 7 levels.
They can't go more than 7 because that's the only stages they have.
But I swear to God, 7 levels feel so long over the fact that this game's pacing is so slow. Heck, not only that, the progression itself feels so repetitive. In fighting games, or in this case platform fighters, repetitive tends to be one of the main issue, but thankfully, other fighting games' repetitive issue can be avoided when the games allows you to experiment consistently during a match. In Tekken, for example, you'll have the allowance to do some sick consistent combos, finding a perfect launcher for it, do some different juggles. It has an infinite possibilities. In Smash, the attacks at least feels right and has consistent hit properties when you try to hit your opponents with the respective attack. Not only that, Smash's arcade mode or classic mode has different types of ideas and concepts for each character, so the fight will always feel fresh and new every time you progress, and this concept has been consistently being put in the game until Smash Ultimate. Take a goddamn shot every time you hear me saying the word consistent.
Ah, this milk's expired.
So what made these games less repetitive?
I have severe depression.
You might be thinking that I was just being exaggerating with this game's pacing and its repetitive issue. So allow me to show you how the match goes. You fight, gain meter, evolve, you win, next level. You fight, gain meter, evolve, you win, next level. You fight, gain meter, questioning your life choices, you win. I cannot escape this loophole.
Wait a minute. Son of a bitch, I knew it!
Arcade games needs to be fast and needs to feel fast, but somehow this game makes 90 seconds feels like 90 years. That somehow went by so fast. How did I got timeout in the first place?
Also, is it just me or the sound quality is crappy as hell?
You're crappy.
It sounded like they just ripped the dialogue straight from the anime, which is, I don't know, fine, but at least make it with better quality. I mean, the Digimon's voice dialogue is spot on, yet how come they didn't do justice with the PNG tamers? Now, speaking of tamers, while you're in the character selection screen, if you press R1, R2, L1, and L2 together while picking your Digimon, your PNG tamers will use a different outfit.
I mean, what can I say? I have privileges.
Those are the rules of the game.
Is that?
A goddamn minigame. Holy shit, finally something different. So as bland as this arcade run goes, there is a single minigame lying in between levels. And the minigame itself is pretty simple and very quick to finish.
Huh, what do you know? The game's fast for once.
It has nothing much to offer though. The minigames only relies on button mash and other simple inputs, and that's pretty much it. But it's very nice for once there is something different during this arcade run. I'll give the move naming A for effort.
Maybe Fee kill yourself?
I forgot to mention something in regards to the gameplay. You can't air tech. And what I mean by that is you cannot do anything at all when you accidentally get hit by an attack, airborne or not. And yeah, basically you have no defensive option after getting hit. So, if you're currently playing in a stage that has pitfalls,
Oh, you don't lose the match, not at all. You only lose like a little bit of health. But imagine that happens 90% of the match.
oh, you got hit? Whoops, sorry. Sorry, I bumped you. This happens too often! Why is this a thing? I swear to God, when I was recording this part, I was busy trying to survive the fall more than I was fighting my opponent.
Oh, I don't know. How about you? Fee, yeet yourself out of the stage!
So long, kiddo.
This is the 6th level! Oh god, please, just let me finish! Ow!
No wonder this game is nightmare fuel. A little death is waiting for me in the last level. I mean, what is this, Halloween? Are we done with Halloween? What is this? Get off! Huh, what is...
So remember when I mentioned that I love the stages?
Wow, I'm blind!
Funny enough though, aside from being an LSD trippin' stage, this stage is very basic, has a very nice music, no pits nor gimmicks whatsoever, just you and your opponents, which in this case, your final boss. So your final boss of this game is Reapermon, and this fight is genuinely very challenging due to the fact that Reapermon has his final boss privileges. I can't spell. Twice the damage, painful specials, and yada yada.
Oh, but don't you worry. Me, as an epic gamer, has found an effective strategy to beat Reapermon. Observe.
Ready? Rumble.
I wish I could make this up. A T-posing Digimon, a nice way to end the game.
Finally I'm done. Now I have to put my name tag on the leaderboards.
Yeah, that's appropriate. Okay, so we're finally done with the arcades and apparently we unlocked the minigames, which they could also just put it in one option rather than just split it into 2 questionable unlockables.
Alright son, how many unlockable modes should we put on the main menu to make the player feel engaged to unlock it?
2 unlockables!
Great answer, so what's the first one?
Minigames!
Awesome, so what's the next one?
2-player minigames!
Seriously, it's just wasting the mode slots while at the same time breaking my hopes and dreams. Anyways, let's move on from that and let's see what character did we unlock after that painful run.
I'm starting to understand now.
The final boss as the first unlockable. I didn't know Christmas is coming this early.
But for real now, all in all, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all the game could offer. Play the arcade, unlock new characters, and repeat.
We also can't forget the versus mode where you can play with your friends. However, there's a certain moment where I want to play mirrors with my sister and the game just didn't allow me to. So it turns out you have to hold the select button while picking your Digimon to play mirrors. And my question is,
why?
It's a minor game design that kind of grinds my gear a bit, but overall, that's it. Once again, this is still a platform fighter, a game where you can enjoy messing around with your friends and family alike. So things like before didn't really bother as much. Also, if you don't want to waste too much of your time unlocking the characters you want to play, you can use the password in an option menu to unlock the characters you wanted. I could have just done that before, holy shit! So aside from having the most repetitive arcade mode ever, the joy still comes from when you play with other people. Just having a blast, loving it out, just pure joy.
Wow, I cannot believe it. We did it. We did the first episode. Can you believe it? It was rather mouthful and a lot of work, but still, we did it. we reached the end. Dude, that's great. Good for you, man. Now, what's for the next episode? Fuck!